Mural 9. Several races, one people. Since the conquest, Huatusco has been infused with foreign blood from diverse backgrounds, thanks to its location and character. In the mid-19th century, Mexico was experiencing a period of modernization, sub Porfirio Diaz, seeing the lack of population and vast tracts of undeveloped land, decided to sign agreements to bring foreigners to the country. The first to arrive was a group of Italians. Between 1858 and 1924, 6 ships arrived, carrying 30 families from Trento, who founded the Colonel Manuel Gonzalez in 1882. Their devotion to the Virgin of the Rosary traveled with them, crowning the construction of the chapel in Zocapa del Rosario. Thanks to the land, tools, plants, and techniques provided by the government, they were able to establish themselves and develop their economy. With discipline and hard work, the Italian farms and businesses grew even more than the local ones, creating a new productive power when combined with the Huatusqueños. In 1898, Don Ignacio Canseco was granted a concession to build a railroad from Córdoba to Huatusco. Construction began in 1900. Due to geographical difficulties and the height of the Jamapa River Bridge, the project became expensive, resulting in insufficient resources. It was completed only as far as Coscomatepec. Despite this, it retained the name, El Huatusquito, after 50 years of service, suspending its operation in 1953. Times advanced, as did technology. Electricity arrived in Huatusco in 1896 through the efforts of Dr. Dario Mendez Lima, Nicolas Gonzalez, Luis Muñoz, Carlos A. Hernandez, and Domingo Souza. The power plant was built by a foreign company in 1897. It took advantage of the waterfall of Victla and operated with a dynamo powered by hydraulic energy. Located at the foot of the waterfall, the first power plant transmitted electricity to the city through transformers. At first, the plant operated only during the rainy season, so the idea of building a dam was considered to increase its power. However, this caused overloads, generating constant blackouts. Furthermore, the service was unable to supply the entire city, and it was contracted almost exclusively for public lighting. This led to the creation of the Huatusco Electric Light Consumers Union, headed by Don Manuel Cetas Rincón. This union operated until 1953, the year the Federal Electricity Commission arrived in Huatusco. The coffee boom grew, and Huatusco became a region of national importance, entering the foreign market and demanding higher export quality. Therefore, the beans were handpicked on a sorting table, which only women could do, due to their great skill, gathering in warehouses. Mrs. Eufrosina Sarmiento Magdaleno, known as La Negra Moya, became the representative of these women called desmanchadoras. Later, Eufrosina was the first general secretary of the union, one of her achievements being to obtain the right to vote for her fellow workers in 1953. In the past, reaching Huatusco required horseback riding along paths due to the rugged terrain. Since the conquest and over time, bridle ways have been opened due to the growing trade. The first were the road to Cameron and the road to Coscomatepec. The first motorable highway leading to Cameron was established in 1928, and formal roads were later established in 1940 and 1947. Amid political and economic developments, local commerce took root in Santa Cecilia Square, building open huts with mortar columns and displaying their harvest on sidewalks and patios, as well as in wooden crates, with some vendors carrying miscellaneous goods. Framing the market skyline, the tower of the Santa Cecilia Temple, dating from 1868, was built on a demolished pre-Hispanic mound that once housed the current temple and market. The church tower was built with the support of various individuals, including parish priest Anastasio Cetas, Miss Isabel Gonzalez, Rafael Herrera, Don Prudencio Salero, Rafael Gonzalez, and parish priest Policanti, who continued the work in 1888 with the support of Don Carlos A. Hernandez. The tower houses a 4-faced clock donated by Mrs. Sofia Gonzalez de Rebolado, which welcomed the first minute of the 20th century. After the old church of San Antonio, built in the 16th century by indigenous hands, had survived several periods of war, it succumbed to the earthquakes of 1920 and 1937. It was decided to demolish it and build a new church. Thus, in 1940, under the direction and initiative of Father Enrique S. Trejo, the proposal to build a new building arose under the advice of the clergy and a call for proposals, which was won by the great architect José Villagrán Garcia. Father Trejo, along with the people, carried out all kinds of activities and efforts, receiving donations and even raffling off his own mule. He established June 13 as the annual Day of the Hen. Construction lasted approximately 42 years. The priest did not live to see the completion of the church, as he died in 1973 and was buried inside the church. Under the direction of Father Luis Palomo, the church was completed, becoming the tallest in the state at 35 meters. At the end of the Porfiriato, healthcare was provided by private individuals and Catholic institutions known as the Hospitals of Jesus. During those same years, Huatusco was elevated to city status in 1880. In 1887, upon arriving in Huatusco, Dr. Dario Mendez Lima was motivated to participate in the growth of education. He joined the city council as Secretary of Education, managing cantonal schools, evening and rural academies, providing cultural consultancies, and, along with other prominent figures, creating the first public library and a publishing house. His concerns were not limited to the academic field. Due to his medical training, he saw the need to create a public hospital. In 1893, with the support of the political leader, he secured 2 plots of land, and a year later, the governor's support for its construction. The project was finally completed, and it was named the Civil Hospital. In addition, he developed the first vaccination campaigns against smallpox and also created one of the first pharmacies called Del Sagrado Corazón de Jesús. All this and more earned him recognition as a favorite son of Huatusco. His devotion to supporting various social needs included, among others, the purchase of a hospital in 1923, through his own efforts and donations from the town and the community, along with Jesus Cotu, Vicente Coria, Jesus Paez, and Luis Muñoz, purchased the land where what is now Alameda Chicueler was created. It was inaugurated in 1904 and adorned with a kiosk, masonry benches, and a gazebo, all surrounded by large expanses of grass and trees. Dr. Dario was also a professor at the institutes he founded and taught notable figures such as Ernesto Garcia Cabral, Rosario de la Fraga, Enriqueta Sahara, Atenagenes, and Atenadoro Pérez y Soto, with Don Ismael Sahara as a teaching colleague. For these philanthropic acts, a civil hospital and a secondary school were named after him. In 1933, Mr. Francisco Buc de Parada arrived in Huatusco. He had the idea of creating an air route from Jalapa to Orizaba with a stopover in Huatusco. He negotiated with the municipal mayor, Felix Mejia Meza, the landowners of the Apixla area, and several regional figures to bring it to fruition. On May 30, 1933, the first flight on this route departed from the city of Orizaba at 11 a.m. bound for the land of the Great Rabbit. The first flight was carried out in Huatusco by 4 renowned passengers. Announcements of the first major landing were made in Huatusco, inviting the population to witness the arrival. Shortly after, due to atmospheric conditions, the route was changed from Jalapa Orizaba to Jalapa Córdoba. In 1935, the flight captain lost his life when the plane crashed in the Sierra Madre Mountains. The other passengers suffered only minor injuries. 10 years later, another accident occurred in Alotepec. A plane crashed, leaving its passengers unrecognizable after a violent storm. That same year, routes to Mexico City were expanded with 12 passenger biplanes, and a third tragedy struck in 1946, bringing mourning to Huatusco. During the remaining years of aviation in Huatusco, a plane carrying 6 tourist passengers crashed in Alotepec in the 1960s, killing all of them. At the close of the 19th century, the French vision permeated various aspects, including habits, fashion, culture, and architecture, with chalets built with references to 17th-century French castles, but adapted to the national context. There were several chalets in Huatusco, including the one known as Chalet Landa. During that same period, Huatusco was called the City of Pianos, as pianos were once found in almost every town hall. During the revolutionary years, Churreria developed and adapted as a Mexican symbol. remaining part of Watusko's customs as a recreational activity, alongside bullfighting, which practically only landowners could engage in. In 1908, bullfights were held in the Watusko Bullring, located next to the Alameda. These events featured Watusko bullfighters such as Maximino Sosal, Alvaro Beristain, Rafael Espejo, and Miguel Aloyo, among others. The cattle were brought from Tlaxcala and kept in Zocotla. It was generally a grand celebration where society figures would come in their finest attire, as these funds were also used to make various improvements to the city. Among the basic services needed in the city, 4 water tanks were built, of which only the oldest one, dating from 1882, located on 4th Avenue, remains. 3 aqueducts were also constructed. However, the service did not supply the entire city, so during Miguel Alamon's administration, efforts were made to introduce drinking water. Before and during the conquest, due to various political and economic circumstances, tunnels were created, connecting houses, haciendas, and churches, leading to the outskirts of the city. Among the houses that had tunnels was the Casa de los Leones, House of the Lions, built in 1903 by the Avendaño family, originally from Boca del Monte. They established a self-sufficient economy, using the mansion for horse riding, a pooled bar, buying and selling coffee, and as a home. Over time, they abandoned commercial activity and maintained only its domestic character. At the beginning of the 20th century, a great intellectual, Professor Ismael Sahara, known for his significant pedagogical contributions to Watusko, died. He established the Pestalozzi Institute in the city of Jalapa in 1879, where he developed a new educational technique. This led to his appointment as director of the preparatory and professional school, honoring him as the first to establish such a system. He served as inspector of municipal schools in 1880, director of the Watusko Central School in 1885, founded the newspaper, La Nueva República, served as secretary of the city council, and authored the book, Brief Notes on the History of the City of Watusko. In the first half of the 20th century, Guillermo Landa, a poet and assiduous scholar and deconstructor of the word, was born. He was born in Watusko and raised around the world. He studied law and worked as a diplomat in numerous countries in Europe and other parts of the world. He participated in international literary events, poetry festivals, book fairs, and literary conferences, serving as a publishing advisor. Guillermo writes and is translated into various languages, always pursuing art as his goal. In his later years, he lived and built a museum in his home, which, with a sensitive and philanthropic heart, he donated to the community.